Hello, so if you saw my previous video, I was talking about how I have moved to the UK for the year. Seeing as I don't have a classic studio set up anymore, I thought it'd be interesting just to share what equipment I brought with me so that I can still create art while I'm over here, basically from the kitchen bench. Obviously, I couldn't bring my whole studio, so I've managed to fit most of it into this bag, just with a couple of extras on the side. So it's basically all my necessities in one bag. So let's get into it. The bag is a Delphonics bag. It's a canvas utility bag that has many pockets and storage areas. So that's the case that I'm using. I've got some basic stationery items in here as well as some art supply items because I do like to do a bit of travel journaling and just updating notebooks and stuff like that. So I've got some Papermate gel pens here, just in green, black, red and blue. So they sit on the outside because I can just quickly pull them out when I need to do something other than art. Then in this pocket here, I've got a couple of washi tapes as well. So as I said, I'm doing some travel journaling. So these are great to stick in pictures or any paraphernalia I pick up, like tickets and things like that. But they're also good, of course, for masking off paper when you're painting. And I do that especially when I'm doing gouache as well. If I want a nice clean white border around the edges, I'll usually just mask them off with washi tape. So washi tape's always important, so they usually just sit in the front pocket. And then along the front I've got my most used pens that I use, especially for my watercolour paintings. I usually do a lot of outlining in black inks. I used to use a lot of Pigma Micron pens, but I've now moved on to the Unipin fine liners. I feel like these draw a lot easier and the nib feels a lot stronger as well. I know for the Micron ones, sometimes even with the lightest of pressure it can get pushed into the pen. These ones seem a lot more sturdy. So I've got a 0.2, a 0.4, and then I also have a brush one as well. It's quite a thick brush, but just for very quick on-the-go sketches, especially for animals and things like that. It's quite good, actually. I didn't like it at first, but it's grown on me. So those three pens sit in the front. Around the back of the case, there's another Velcroed area, and that's just where I keep my paper towel. So I try and keep this stocked up quite often because it's very handy when you're painting outdoors, but that just sits in the little pocket. So that's basically all that I keep on the outside of my case. There are a few more pockets on the outside, but I'm just worried about things falling off, especially if I'm carrying this around outside. I don't really want to lose things, so they basically stay empty. But inside the case, that's where the majority of things live. So I'm quite lucky. This is a good size case because it keeps my A5 sketchbook in, as well as my, what is it? It's like a sort of A6 size but square sketchbook as well. I don't always carry both of them with me, but if I want to, and especially when I am traveling long distances, they can just fit straight into there. So that's handy. And inside we've got a collection of pens, brushes, a palette, you name it, it's in here. So I've got two watercolour palettes. This is my little travel one that I carry around if I'm not wanting to take the bigger one out. It's just got the basic primary colours in. I've had this for quite a while, but it's just good for getting some quick colour down. I've also got my classic little jam jar for holding water in. I don't ever feel like I need a massive jar if I'm just painting outside. When I'm at home, I'll usually use a full glass, but on the go, I can just, if it gets too murky, I can just tip it out and refill it with my drink bottle. So that's a handy thing to carry. I've also got just a classic Staedtler eraser, nothing too fancy. Always useful if you're painting outdoors to take some little bulldog clips. If it's windy, which it feels like it usually is more often than it's not, these are a lifesaver to stop pages just flying everywhere. So a couple of bulldog clips. Along with the Staedtler eraser, I've got a Staedtler pencil, HB size. And then I've got an assortment of pens in here as well. So like I was saying before, I've still got a lot of Pigma Micron pens that I'm slowly working through, so I'm not using these ones as much, but when I am usually more inside than outside, I may bring them out if I'm wanting to do really fine lines for a drawing. So I've got a 003 nib size, a 005, a 01 and a 03. So I'm keeping them around to use them right up until the very end. But once they've run out of ink, I think I'll probably end up replacing those sizes with the Unipin ones because I just prefer the feel of these ones. I've also got a Unipin fine liner brush in brown. I mentioned that I've got the black brush here. This is the exact same one apart from it's got brown ink. I thought I was going to use it a lot more than what I have. When I bought it, I thought it'll match with the brown toned paper of this sketchbook, but it's the wrong shade of brown. I think I thought it was going to be a lot lighter than what it is, so I use it on the rare occasions as much as I thought I was going to use it. Another pen that I brought with me, where I'm still not entirely passionate about it, is the Unipin Extra Fine brush. So this is more like a calligraphy brush than anything else, and I have been using it a bit in my travel journal. I find it quite hard to use for my drawings. You need to apply a very even brush stroke for it to work, and it's just not the way that I draw. It's a lovely pen, and I'm sure, like with proper calligraphy, it's probably a perfect pen, but for me it's a touch and go sort of one. But it's handy to have, just in case I'm feeling extra courageous I can pull it out, but otherwise it is sort of here for the ride. I've got one of my favourite pens. This is just a classic ballpoint pen. It's a Pilot Acro. They're just a very, very nice writing pen, so it's just handy to have it in here if I need to make any notes or do any writing. Then I've got a couple of highlighters. Once again, these are more for journaling and writing than they are for my art stuff. Along with those guys, I've got some permanent markers as well. I got these because I recently bought one of those Polaroid picture printers where it can turn the pictures from your camera into a little Polaroid. So I wanted to write dates and where the pictures were taken, so I needed some permanent markers. So I just picked these ones up from Hobbycraft, and now they get carried around in my case as well. I've just got another random red pen in here. Then I've also got my one and only Tombow marker. I'm not sure what colour it's in. It's sort of a sandy colour. I thought this would be good for any sketches that I do. If I don't want to pull out the watercolour, I can just do some quick shading with it. I use it occasionally, not all the time, but I thought I'd bring it with me. It weighs basically nothing, and it's got a large pen size, and then it's got a shorter texter sort of size. Another pen that I've got is the Uniball Signo Broad. This is just a white ballpoint pen. Great for throwing highlights in, especially with that brown toned paper sketchbook that I've got. Finally in here I've got just a couple of cheaper paintbrushes. So these are Princeton Aqua Elites. They're both round because I love a good round paintbrush. I've got size 6 and size 3. So these are always in the case with me. If I know I'm going to do a lot of painting, I may carry around my set of paintbrushes, but if it's just a quick outing, these two can do the job perfectly. And then that's it for inside my case. Just a couple of other extra items that I brought along was my set of gouache paints. I wanted to do a lot more gouache paintings this year than I have in the past, so I've brought along just the primary colours. There's some Art Spectrum ones in there and some Winsor & Newton, so I couldn't leave these ones at home. I've also got my classic palette of watercolour. I've got a much more wider range of watercolour paints in here. I topped them all up before I left. I probably will need to replace some, but I like to use the Winsor & Newton brand, and they are a bit cheaper here than they are in Australia, so it really doesn't matter too much if I do have to buy a few tubes, because that's what I don't use, I'll just bring back home and I'll use it eventually. So that sadly doesn't fit into the case, it's a bit too large, so it just has to sit by itself in my bag, but I couldn't not bring this one. And then finally, my case of brushes. So this has got a selection of brushes in. I've got my Winsor & Newton round paint brushes. They're quite a workhorse of a brush. I use them a lot in my art. So I've got the size 6 and the size 4 round brush. Then I've got a 1/2 inch filbert as well. I've got a few synthetic jazz art brushes. I use these ones for gouache. They're all round in various sizes. You can tell that I like round brushes, right? And then what's left in here are a selection of Montmar brushes as well. I don't use these brushes as much, as I'm not usually one to do big watercolour washes, but if I do ever fancy it, then they're here. And even if these brushes aren't used in particular, the other ones definitely are, so the case is needed. And that is all the art supplies that I've brought with me. So far, first few months being here, it's been fine. I haven't felt like I've been missing out on anything. I have purchased a couple of watercolour pads since I've arrived here for just doing larger gouache paintings. But aside from that, I haven't needed anything else. So hopefully it will stay like that throughout the year. And I can see myself running out of some watercolours at some point, but that's no biggie. I'll just buy some more tubes, but otherwise, that's it. So I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you're planning on going traveling and doing some sketches, then hopefully what I've shown here may give you a bit of an idea of what you'd want to include in your own bag. If you have any questions about what I've used, just leave them in the comments below. I'll be happy to answer them. If you want to support me in any way, then I have got a Ko-fi and I've got an Etsy store as well. Because I'm traveling, I've removed my prints from Etsy, but I am putting original paintings and commissions up on there. So if you're interested in that, then go have a look, and otherwise I'll see you in the next video. Bye!